Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another podcast episode. My name is Alicia Gogan, the host of the Glow of Seekers podcast, where I help you expand your mind and become more self-aware so that you can glow up into the best version of yourself. Oh, has a season come again? What season is that? Let me tell you what season it is. The season of life that we are currently in is anxious attachment season. Okay, listen, I don't know what is in the air, quite frankly. I do know that it's Mercury retrograde. We got some things in the microwave and I don't know when it's going to come out. I don't know. Also, there's like this Lionsgate portal thing on the lunar calendar. We're basically in autumn. We are coming to the end of summer. I think a lot of things are just spiraling and changing and evolving in the ether right now. And I am seeing a lot of people right now be triggered, especially when it comes to relationships, those who are anxiously attached, even myself. I talked about it in last week's episode. I had a little bit of a anxious attached trigger, and I told you guys how I got through that, this, that, and the third. Lots of friends in my world have been dealing with this kind of stuff, and in general, I've been seeing you guys have really been responding well to some of my episodes when it comes to revaluing yourself, focusing on yourself, things like that, which tend to happen when you are triggered in being anxiously attached, etc. So I decided that I wanted to make a little, probably long episode when it comes to things you need to learn and remember when you are anxiously attached, or you just know that you are somebody who kind of gets like that sometimes within your relationships, or even honestly in life. I feel like what I'm going to talk about can just be like real life confidence and revaluing yourself tips. So that's what we're going to talk about. I want to talk about some of the things that I have really learned on the journey of being somebody who has actively been working on her anxious attachment style. I have come such a long way to the point where I really do feel that my anxious attachment style that was created in childhood no longer really comes online. And I'm at a point in my life right now where I kind of just want to hold a funeral for her. I just really don't need her anymore. And maybe that's something that you can kind of reflect on and think about around this time and season of your life, and just thinking about how she's really ran her course. I really think that it's time that we let her go. And hopefully some of this advice will help you. So the first thing that always helps me when I am triggered, but in general, what has helped me move from this identity of being this anxious person, is understanding that everyone is really your mirror. Meaning your relationships, whether that's romantic or friendships, even sometimes your family dynamics and things like that, but let's just keep it to romantic relationships. The way that these relationships are playing out are really a deep reflection of what you believe you get to have in your life. And why I think this is something to always remember as an anxiously attached person is because usually the reason why you are triggered or you're feeling this sense of uneasiness and you're not really getting what you want in your relationships is because there is usually someone's behavior that might be actually shitty in your life. But what you need to remind yourself of is that it's not really them. It's not to say that people in your life are showing up really shitty that are kind of triggering you into an anxious attachment style, and like you're worrying and you're wondering and you're second guessing yourself. But you really want to ask yourself the question of like, why am I constantly being triggered, and why am I around people, places, and things that are making me feel bad about myself? And I find being somebody who has been like this and not known her worth, and a lot of times in relationships, I was accepting the bare minimum. I was not getting committed to. I was not really being respected. But that's really because I didn't look at myself as someone to be respected, someone to be committed to, someone to be loved and just cherished and really prioritized in her life. But then I would be sitting here complaining and being so upset with people who weren't committing to me, when really it was just a reflection of how I looked at myself, but also the lack of commitment that I didn't have to myself. And it's always so apparent when you are hyper obsessing over someone else and their behaviors and what they're doing and how they're thinking and how they're moving and like all of their micro behaviors. You don't have the spotlight on you. You're so committed to them. You're so committed to what they need. You're so committed to fitting yourself into their box and to watching their every move, but you're not committed to yourself. But you're crying about the fact that that person's not committing to you, but you don't know how to commit to yourself. Every day you're leaving yourself. Every day you're choosing them. Every day it's always about them. So really, really reevaluate how people are treating you in your life and see how, and this is not something that we want to even have happen. Obviously, I'm not saying that this is technically your fault or this is what you want, but you can see how you actually haven't been valuing yourself. You actually haven't been committing to yourself. You haven't actually been even respecting yourself, because if you respected yourself, you wouldn't be in a relationship or in a situationship or whatever with somebody who is constantly disrespecting you. Why is that? Why is it that you keep getting triggered by people, places, and things and shitty behavior? It's because you're not respecting yourself and your time enough to remove yourself from these situations and these people. And another reason why I think it's so important to remind yourself of this in times when you find that this attachment style is coming online is it really does give you a lot of power back, because when you're anxiously attached, you feel like you don't have your power and somebody else has it or some other circumstance has it. And you're like waiting around for that person to put you at ease or this thing to put you at ease, or you just feel like your life is just out of control. But really, reminding yourself that everyone is just your mirror can give you a lot of power by saying, okay, if I want my world to reflect to me commitment, love, respect, all of these amazing things, all I have to do is not only look at myself like that, look at myself like I am valued and worthy and loved and so deserving of all of these things, but I need to put my attention and time into myself and it will be reflected. But what you do is the opposite. You sit here, you feel like shit about yourself, and then you look outside yourself and you say, please love me. Please make me feel better about myself. Please respect me. Please choose me. No one is going to choose you, and nobody is going to fully commit to you and love you the way you fully want unless you do it for yourself. Now, disclaimer, obviously you don't always have to be meeting every single one of your needs and stuff, and like you can have relationships where you don't really feel the best about yourself and people can still show up for you and love you. That happens, you're a human being. You don't need to be 100% confidence all the time, whatever. But usually when you find yourself in these dynamics, you really have lost a lot of your value. You've really been negotiating. You've really been losing yourself and not reminding yourself of who you are. So when you find you are putting your attention on someone else, bring it towards yourself. It is the only thing that matters. I promise you, especially when you're in this moment, the only thing that matters right now is for you to put your attention back towards yourself, because it hasn't been. Now, I found a really good Instagram quote that goes well with what I was just saying when it comes to everybody is your mirror. And I will have it up on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on audio, then you can just listen. So it says, be the change I wish to see, which is something that a lot of people in the law of assumption community will talk about, law of attraction. A lot of people will say, become the change you wish to see in the world. And I really do believe that that's how the world works and how the world operates. Now, is that how every single intricacy of the world and of life is everything is your mirror? No, but I do think, especially on an interpersonal level, everyone is your mirror. So then it goes out to list a few examples. It says, if I want people to trust me, then I must trust me. And I want you to think about that for a second. When you live in a reality where all you want is people to trust you, or you're looking for validation for people to trust you, it's because you don't trust yourself. You need to trust yourself if you want that reflected. Another thing, if I want my mom to show me love, I must show her love. And I will disclaim, obviously, you need to have boundaries with people and you need to know when to remove yourself, which we're going to talk about, especially being anxious attached person. But at the end of the day, if you want love and respect from people, you also have to show that to them. We already know that. This is something that we have learned when we're very young. If I want my partner to listen to me, I must listen to him. And quite frankly, if you want other people to care about you and your thoughts and your feelings and your everything, you have to care about those things. You have to be like, those things matter to me, and you have to stand firm in those things. Same thing goes when I started my podcast. I have to back myself. I have to look at myself like I have something to say. Yes, I do. Even if it doesn't get reflected right away, because some things do not do that. We don't give up. I believe I have something to say and it will be reflected. People will see what I see. Another one, if I want my children to be confident, I must model confidence in my own actions and decisions. Very true. If you as a parent, I'm not a parent, but I've definitely seen how if you as a parent are not confident within your own self, whether it is like looks based and you're picking on yourself, your child is going to pick that up. If you hate yourself, if you don't know how to make decisions, if you're indecisive, if you are a stressed out individual, your children will get those downfalls, unfortunately, from that. And again, no one is perfect, but you have to see how you showing up will affect the other people around you. Another one, if I want my peers to be honest with me, I must always be honest with them. Very true. And lastly, if I want my community to be kind, I must practice kindness in my daily interactions, which I sometimes see this with online communities and how, there are definitely online communities or influencers who are really toxic and like savage and whatever. And you can see the comment sections and you can see their followers, how like they're such a reflection of them in a way. And this is obviously not fully always them because you're never going to have everyone reflect exactly who you are. But majority, you can kind of see like the movements online and how that's a reflection of the person that's kind of like leading that movement in a way. So anyways, it's just good reminders to see how everybody truly is your mirror. So if there's something in your life that you do not like, especially somebody's actions or romantic relationships, usually it's because you don't look at yourself as worthy of having anything more than what you are getting. You are accepting that bare minimum because you don't believe that you deserve it. Or really, you're just not putting that attention and time into yourself. And what you will realize a lot of the time, especially with dating, when you put that energy back onto yourself, that person's energy will come to you. That person can't have their energy on you when you have all of your energy on them all the time. Okay, the next thing that we need to talk about is mastering cognitive reframing. This is something that you need to live by even outside of being somebody who is anxiously attached in relationships. And this is the thing that has changed my entire life. You have a set of beliefs that you hold about yourself and the world, okay? This is based off of childhood upbringing, school experiences, people you've been around, relationships that have formed you, everything, all of it, right? Even the country you live in, everything like that. All these religious beliefs, everything. So when you are operating at a certain belief system, you have these glasses on and you look through the world with that lens. And sometimes it's not a bad thing. We have to have a belief system of something. But when you come from a shitty belief system of thinking men are all trash, women are all trash, relationships don't work out, I'm not going to get what I want, I'm not lovable, I'm not beautiful, I'm not successful, there'll always be someone else, I can't do it, X, Y, and Z. What your brain likes to do is to only seek out evidence to prove yourself right about the beliefs you hold in your life. Because we as human beings, we don't do well with cognitive dissonance. And what that really means is my reality in my head doesn't match up to the reality that's in front of me. And that makes me feel uneasy. So I need to figure out how to match my reality within my head to the one out here. So when you have these internal deep fears of being rejected or you feel like everyone's going to leave you, you are going to continuously look for evidence to prove yourself right about that. And even if something happens in your life where it kind of looks like maybe somebody's rejecting you or somebody's going to leave you or whatever, what you do is you say, yep, I'm right. Yep, see, that person doesn't like me, that person doesn't love me, that person's rejecting me, they're going to do the most horrid thing to me. You basically just go into this spiral of the worst possible circumstance, the worst story you could ever tell yourself, and you spiral on that all day, especially when you're triggered. And that makes you feel like shit, and that makes you act out of those beliefs, and then you start doing more shit that just messes up your relationship, or you just start acting out of this, you do things sometimes when you're triggered that you don't want to be doing. So what I have learned that has helped me, whether I actually am seeing something that's not necessarily the best thing that I really want to be seeing, or it's an actual lie, or it's not even there yet, I like to reframe my mind and I like to come up with a story that is favorable to me and what I get to have in my life and the beliefs that I actually want to hold in my life. So if you find that you are seeing somebody's behavior and you're analyzing someone's behavior and you're like, oh, they didn't answer my text because they hate me, reframe that right now, because the only reason why you're thinking the worst possible scenario is because you have a belief system that is set in place that either maybe that once happened before, maybe you actually have real evidence of that, or you just genuinely believe that you're not chosen or you're not loved. But the thing is how is that ever going to get you the thing that you actually want, which you will continue to try until the day you die, which is a healthy, beautiful relationship? You're going to always try for that. You're going to keep talking to men or women or whatever the case is. So you might as well get very, very good at reframing things. And this is not about being delusional. I'm not saying you have to tell yourself that that person loves you when that person texted you and said, hey, I really want to break right now. I don't really see this working out or whatever. Reframe it to something that is a little bit more favorable than just being like, oh my God, I am not liked. And oh my God, was it the fact that I look this certain way or my body looks like this? Or this guy's talking to a million other girls and they're probably talking to the girls that don't like me or this, that, and the third, whatever. You just tell yourself such shitty fucking stories. Sorry for swearing, but not really, because we swear. And I'm very heated about this because I feel like this is something that has changed my life genuinely is reframing and understanding that when you are seeking out these crappy evidences and crappy stories, it's really just trying to match up with your old limiting beliefs that do not serve you. You looking at yourself like you are not chosen, you looking at yourself like you're ugly, that you're not loved, that you're gonna get cheated on, all of these things, none of that is serving you. None of that needs to be your reality, but you need to change those beliefs and you need to change the way that you're thinking about what you're perceiving in your life in order for things to change. Because if you don't, you're going to keep perpetuating that story. And then when you have a story like, oh, all men cheat or all men don't actually like me or they're not going to choose me or I'm not going to whatever, you will act out of these limiting beliefs. So you'll start doing behaviors that are crazy behaviors. You'll start checking. You'll start creating fights. You'll, only date the guys who are actually not good for you because you don't believe that you're good enough to actually be with a man who would treat you right. You stop even recognizing what it means to be with a man who is healthy or a person who's secure. You just completely strip yourself away from healthy behaviors because you're so focused on the stories that literally don't serve you and are based out of limiting things that you've either experienced in your life that you shouldn't have ever experienced, or there's people maybe around you that have instilled beliefs in you. Society doesn't do a good job at that. You go on social media and everyone's talking about how all men are trash or this, that, and the third. You need to stop doing that. You need to learn how to cognitively reframe the things that are not going well in your life. And I honestly think about this when it comes to things outside of relationships. I have done this all my life. I talk about this even in my book, The Ultimate Glow Up Guide, when I had chronic illness, when I lost my father, when my mother was going through addictions, when I was going through really hard things in my life, financial crises, all that kind of stuff. I did my absolute best to try to think about the positives, try to be strong through these things, try to see the lessons and the beauty, unfortunately, sometimes out of these really hard things. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be able to always have the wisdom or always find the beauty out of really crappy things, especially if somebody's not treating you right or if somebody's ghosting you or, you have a loss in your life. But trying your absolute best to get there will do you wonders because that's going to dictate how you continue to move on from the thing that just triggered you. Okay, my girls and my guys, or whoever's watching this, really. I know that there's a lot of women who are watching this, and I should not say most, but a lot of women, at least that I know, fall into the category of anxiously attached, and they tend to date, guess what? Avoidant men. Oh my God, shout out to the avoidant men. You guys are so stoic. No, seriously though, let's talk about specifically dealing with somebody who's avoidant. And I will also give you this. I have throughout my dating life, I have dated anxious guys, I have dated avoidant guys, and I've dated secure guys. And I've also had my father, I would probably say that he was avoidant when it came to emotional stuff. He just wasn't the best emotionally mature wise. I didn't really rely. I learned at a very young age not to rely on him when it came to emotionally regulating myself because he just wasn't going to be the person to do that. So I did that with my mom, and I would say my mom also is very, very avoidant, and she was a lot through really challenging times in her life, which created this dynamic where I became really anxious with her in my adulthood years for real reasons. There was real reasons to be anxious and to be worried and to be stressed all the time. So I have experienced a lot of dealing with people who don't want to deal with the issues that are at hand that actually might need to be dealt with. Okay. So whether this is in relationships or even like in family dynamics, like I understand the feeling and the frustration of dealing with somebody who's not willing to deal with whatever the fuck they probably played a huge role in whatever issue you're currently having with them, okay? But this is something that took me a long time and a lot of strength, but it has been the thing that has transformed my relationships, okay? And the reason why it's transformed my relationships is because, again, everyone is really your mirror. So let's quickly talk about it. I need you as an anxious attached person to stop concerning yourself with people, especially people who are avoidant, who do not want to take responsibility of the part that they have played in whatever it is that is currently going on in your relationship. And this is one of the hardest things that we tend to come across as being people who are anxiously attached, because when you are in this state of mind, you feel unsafe. And so the way you have learned to feel safe is for you to concern yourself with somebody who is running away from you, somebody who is clearly not communicating with you, somebody who clearly cannot, because they're not emotionally mature enough, deal with the thing that would help you be at ease. Now, I want to say this, coming back to everyone is your mirror and taking responsibility of your own life, what you think that person is also going to put you at ease at, most of the time, they won't even put you at ease, because you're going to continue to keep operating from being an anxious person. And what you need is probably deeper than what they can even give you. But even if they can respond in a way that would maybe help the situation, do you really want to continue your relationships and continue to go down roads where men, specifically, I'm just going to say this as like a example, these men are not willing to communicate with you? These men are not willing and not concerning themselves with being responsible and being mature and showing up and doing the things that they need to do, or the things that they need to say, or the things that they need to address with you. You don't want that. I promise you, you don't want that. And I promise you, the safety that you feel like you're going to get from somebody who's avoidant won't be what you think it is. Please stop seeking safety in an avoidant person. That is the worst place that you will look for safety. And what you really need to do is find it within yourself. Now, on the topic of not concerning yourself with people who are not willing to show up, you really need to understand this. You get to dictate how your day goes. You get to dictate how you feel. And I feel like you really forget this when you are anxiously attached, especially in those moments. You have all the power on them, all the power on the thing that's distressing you the most. And sometimes you like to play victim. Sometimes you basically say, I'm not going to be happy today until that person texts me back, or until I hear an answer, or until they fix the problem, or until whatever. You need to stop acting as if you don't have full power and control over yourself and your life and your energy. And I'm not saying that this is an easy task, but what you're not going to do is dishonor yourself by perpetuating a story and saying that you don't have control over how your day gets to go, because you actually do. You are allowed, just like this other person that has no real concern about how you're feeling in this moment, to take time and space away from the thing that is distressing you. Even though you're so used to going inwards on that thing that makes you distressed, you need to remind yourself that you actually do have the power, and you are allowed to take a step back. Quite frankly, the way I like to look at it sometimes, especially if you're dealing with somebody who's avoidant, is this person has no problem with walking away from you and taking space that they need to really, they're not taking space and actually dealing with the thing, they're just being avoidant. But you can think about it in this sense. They have no issue with walking away and taking space that they need. Nobody is holding a gun to your head and saying that you can't do that. But sometimes you like do it to yourself. It's like you are holding that gun to your head and saying, oh, no, you can't take space from this. You have to hyper focus on their behavior. You have to figure it out. You have to understand, and you have to over explain, and you have to figure out why it is that they're feeling this way, or why they're not texting you back, or why they did what they did. You have to explain to them how they are making you feel guess what, my girl, my love, my whatever, my guy, you don't have to do a damn thing. You do not have to do a damn thing. You do not have to explain. You do not have to waste your day trying to understand somebody who can't emotionally regulate and be emotionally mature. You do not have to spend your time understanding that at all, not for a second. And quite frankly, coming back to everyone as a mirror, if you want to be with somebody who's emotionally mature, if you want to be with somebody who is secure, if you want to be with somebody who is attentive to your needs, stop concerning yourself with people who are not. And that's what you keep doing as an anxious person. You keep crying about the fact that you don't have that person in your life, but you keep concerning yourself only with people who won't do it. So whatever you think that you need to address with this person, this circumstance, this thing that's going on, I promise you, as much as you believe within your nervous system, your little childhood trauma brain right now, you believe that you need to address the thing that's going to put you at ease. I promise you, you do not need to address it. Give it space, give it time. Bring your attention and your energy back to yourself. It is the only thing you need in this moment. I promise you that. Which leads me into the last thing. And this is what I talked about in last week's episode. So what you're going to do after this episode is you're going to watch that episode if you have not watched it. And you are not going to analyze someone's behavior, and you are not going to double text, and you are not going to cry about it, and you are not going to go to your friends and dissect someone's behavior, and you're not going to play the victim. You're not going to do that. You're going to go to that next episode and you're going to watch that. And then after that, you're going to go watch my emotional maturity episode, because those are the things that you need. You do not need this person or this thing to put you at ease, because it's fake. It's literally fake. It's not even going to make you feel at ease, because if you don't know how to make yourself at ease, this is going to continue to happen again and again. And that's why you continue to be in the same situation over and over and over again. I promise you that. I'm saying this from experience. The thing that you need to do the most is you need to become your own safe space. You need to love yourself more than this avoidant person or this shitty circumstance. You need to love yourself more than this anxious attachment style. And understand this, ain't nobody gonna do it for you, okay? So you need to put your big girl pants on or big boy pants on, and you need to show up for yourself. You need to reparent yourself. You need to become your own safe space. You need to stop looking outside of yourself to everyone else to make you feel at ease, calm, relaxed, happy about life, loving yourself again, feeling good, feeling optimistic. Please. You need to honor yourself, and you need to become your own safe space. And not only is it good for the moment for you to become your own safe space and to build a relationship with yourself so that you can just be at peace with your own life, and for you to not act out of these like triggered like states of mind, because you know that doesn't go anywhere and doesn't bring you anywhere. You will start to see your life change, because when you bring your attention back to yourself consistently every single day, when you revalue yourself, when you remind yourself of who you are, people have no other option but to, one, fall off, which by didn't need you anyways, or two, to conform. You want people to respect you. You want people to commit to you. You want people to prioritize you. You have to take that step first. And so instead of concerning yourself and trying to get other people to see your worth or to maneuver them and to force them into manipulation to liking you, go like yourself. Go choose yourself. Go do the things that you have been neglecting for years, for months, for weeks. Usually it tends to happen when you're actually in a relationship with someone. You kind of lose yourself, which is a natural thing. You ebb and flow. No one has to be perfect. Don't get mad at yourself because you lost yourself. Don't get mad at yourself that you're triggered. I do not even get mad at myself when I sometimes have that like anxious attachment flare up a little bit. I just reassess the situation. I come back to these truths of who I am. I remind myself of what I get to have in my life, and I remind myself that everyone's in my mirror, and I come back to me, and I flip that shit around very quickly. And that also dictates how I continue to move in my romantic life, and I end up getting closer and closer to the things that I want and the treatment that I know that I deserve in my life. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to have that beautiful, loving, respectful relationship or even results in your life without showing up for yourself. So thank your anxious attachment style for keeping you safe all of these years, because she did. She did the best she could with what she had, okay? But the thing that we need to understand as humans right now in this particular moment of life, whenever you are watching this, if you want new results in your life, if you want that commitment, if you want that respect, if you want that love, if you want that beautiful, juicy, secure attachment with another man, another woman, another whatever, whoever you're dating. You want more money in your bank account. You want to be that successful X, Y, and Z. It starts with you deciding to show up differently in your life. You literally will not have someone change and show up differently in your relationship if you continue to show up the exact same way. How is that going to happen? That is literally the worst girl math that I've ever heard or seen, and I don't want it. And quite frankly, we're done with that. We're done with that. It's not cute. It's not cute. It's not cute to play the victim anymore. It's not cute to have all the excuses as to why we're not getting what we want in our lives. It's not cute to continue to spiral. It's not cute, and it's not honoring ourselves, and it's just not a way to live. And, life is short, okay? You have one life. Life is short, and you need to work on these things. And I'm telling myself this too as well. And the last thing that I will say, because you guys know, we love to have a self-love piece within everything, because I've learned that is the way forward in life is to lead also with love, unconditional love for yourself. Don't beat yourself up about the fact that you have gotten into this situation, whatever it is, whatever you're resonating with in this episode. I don't, even when I get triggered in my life, it happens less and less as I continue to show up for myself, but sometimes it still happens. And the reason why it's so important is you don't want to be berating yourself as you're trying to change, because it's going to be 10 times harder for you to change as a person and to get yourself out of these cycles if you're coming from this place of, oh my God, I did it again. Oh my God, I shouldn't have done it. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Oh my God, this, that, and the third. Understand that this is a journey. See and assess the situation for what it is. Be real with yourself. Have people in your life who are going to hold you accountable. Hold yourself accountable. Do the things that you need to do by showing up for yourself consistently, and understand that it's the only thing that you need right now, and continue to move forward. Take it day by day, and definitely stop concerning yourself with people, places, and things that are not willing to concern themselves with you and what you need for your relational life. Okay? Please go and watch those episodes that I've talked about in this podcast. Please potentially get my book, The Ultimate Glow Guide, because I go deeper into self-sabotaging behaviors, which can definitely pertain to relationships as well. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe, please, because you will get all my episodes on your feed if you subscribe, because YouTube will know that you want to watch more of me. But let me know in the comments what you need specifically next, okay? I have some episodes that are coming out. They're still in the works. We're working on them, this, that. But you guys know, well, I guess if you're new, then you wouldn't know, but I really like to post episodes that are really energetically a match to what I feel people need to hear. So let me know what you guys are struggling with. And don't forget, if you are watching on YouTube, I do have my podcast on Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast. So if you want to go on like a hot girl walk and you don't want to waste your data like playing from YouTube, you can go and find it on Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff, and you can just let it play there. If you are listening on audio, I see you guys. Don't you worry. You guys are the OGs, because this podcast used to not be on YouTube. And I guess actually a side note, if you are watching on YouTube, I probably have maybe 60-ish episodes that are not on YouTube, by the way, which are on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. So if you have listened to every one of these episodes and you want more, go listen to it on Spotify, Apple, because they're still there. They're older episodes, okay? I have evolved, but they are there and they're really good, and I see you guys love them. But if you are on audio, I would love so much if you could take 3 seconds out of your time to hit the follow button. I believe it's only on Spotify. Maybe it's on Apple too, just so you can always be sure that you get my episodes. But if you could also leave me a star review, preferably 5 stars, that would be so lovely, because when I have reviews and I have star reviews on my podcast, that will push my podcast out to more people. It will also help me be able to work with more companies so that I'm able to continue to put this podcast out for free for everyone. But of course, just for other women, men, whoever wants to listen to this, to find this podcast, because that's what I want to do, is to get this out to as many people as possible. I really appreciate everyone who has already left reviews. I see them. You guys are beautiful. You guys can also respond on Spotify, like what you like about the episode now, and I can reply back to you guys, which is beautiful. And I love that. I see your guys' comments. You guys are DMing me on Instagram. It's beautiful. I love you guys. We are leveling up. We are changing our lives. And that's that. on that. Okay. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.